Hello, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well and keeping safe in this little bit of rough times. Um, no, not a little bit, it's a lot of rough times, but I hope you're all keeping happy, being safe, and helping others. All right, let's get to it. Today I'm going to talk about what would be the best way to navigate through the Flask Web Framework. And what I mean through that is how if I am a beginner, how would I go through the Flask documentation and get started? Most of the beginners they don't understand that, in order to gain more experience, in order to be better at anything in terms of learning in computer science, documentation is the best thing you can ever go across. Of course, I understand that there are tutorials and hundreds of all that good stuff, but this is the basic thing that every dev must know about. Today I'm going to talk a bit about that. How do you do that, and why do you do that, and what are the benefits? All right, so I think the best way to understand how to do it is by doing it. So I'm just gonna show you how to do it, right? So basically, you just type Flask and Google search it. It is the first thing you will get. It's the documentation for it, the framework. Um, okay, so yeah, this is how it looks here. Now, it has a wealth of knowledge here. Even if you only go through this, you'd be the best dev ever. Believe me. All right. So this one's just a forward, get started, whatever. And what the best and the good thing, it starts in the user guide, right? It has a lot of good things like forward and what does quote unquote micro mean? As the Flask is a micro framework. What does that mean? Its configuration, conventions, growing with Flask, especially if you want to contribute something. Um, then you have forward for experienced programmers. You have installation, um, which is very important. This is where you get started. You read the forward first, and you get started with the installation. Then installation has various parts to it. So first of all, it will tell you what sort of Python version you need. So you basically have to click on it, and there you would see um, it recommends supporting the latest version of Python, which is 3.6 right now or newer. Um, so this is because if you have like if you want async support, um, your Python version should be 3.7 or plus. There's a lot of dependencies you would need to install. Um, Basically, most of them would get installed when you like just install Flask. And you would say, how do I install dependencies? That's very easy. You just go open your command prompt here, and you can do pip install. Let's say we want to install Flask. Oops. Click on it, hit enter. Pip is the install manager for Python. This is how you install anything you want in Python. Um, if you don't have pip, you can just install that as well. Um, you can use Anaconda. I use VS Code. Whatever suits you. Everything is good. Um, so yeah, these are all the dependencies. Then there's some optional ones, which they won't install automatically, but you can install them just the way I showed you. You can click on any one of them. Let's say you want to see Python dot environment. Yeah, it will give you go to the Git page and you will see all the documentation how to install it. As I said, pip install is the way to go. Right. So as I told you before, and the point of this video is this, that the documentation, say if you didn't have this documentation, how are you gonna make sense of it if you haven't written this, right? So yeah, this is why it is very important to write proper documentation and read that. Um, so yeah, the next one is the virtual environments. Virtual environments is basically like consider them sort of different rooms for doing different stuff. So if you wanna say you wanna do some cooking, you go to kitchen, um, and you have different kitchen every time you wanna make something new. That is because you need different tools, utensils, or and whatever other stuff whenever you are cooking anything different. So just you know imagine that you have a different box every time you need to do any different project. Those are the virtual environments. Um, so because if you were to install anything on your local computer, as in your whole device, you would just have one environment, and all the projects they do not support one environment. You need to have different version of libraries and different stuff for different activities or projects you're doing. So this is a very good functionality, the virtual environments here. Um, so you can also install them to the VNV module. I'll teach that to you in some different video, but you can get everything from here, right? That's my point here. This is how you install Flask, right? So and this was the installation part. Then you have quick start. It's basically like a small tutorial to get you started with, right? Um, you have minimal application. It's basically a small template that would get you going once you get started over, and then you have all those different issues and steps that you need to follow to kind of build a minimum application, and then you can, as I said before, you can do customizations as you want, right? And this is it. Then you have the tutorial, small tutorial where you have different stuff like project layout, application setup, define and access the database, blueprints and views, templates, static files, and all the good stuff. And and so on and so forth. This is such a good thing. You just go through it and you're good to go. Whatever you need here, say if you need logging, right? Logging, they have the whole thing here, right? Just open logging, you will know what to do. And they also give good examples here, right? So this is the one way how to do it. What they have done here is, as an app.route, this is routed over to for backslash login here. So what backslash login means that it means that it basically means your main URL /login. You don't have to mention main URL whenever you're routing something. So that's what it means. And this is the method it's gonna use. Like there's two methods there, get and post. This one's using post, right? And then it defines a function, a login function, right? It gets the user's username and then checks if the password is entered correctly or not, and it logs in the user. If not, then just gives you an error, right? This is just like, and then if you need to log, right? Like whenever you have any issues, you have to log it. So this is how it'll tell you how to configure it, right? So let's see, whenever you want to configure login for your project, you should do it as soon as possible, as when the program starts. If app.logger is accessed before logging is configured, sorry about that. If possible, configure logging before creating application object. So this example gives you everything you need, right? This is the config file. This is before even the application starts, so that when the application starts, everything gets logged in, right? So yeah, this is basically if you want to send an email to admins, people who support the application after it is up. It could be the devs itself, application support, anybody who needs to know if something goes wrong. This would send the emails to them, right? And and there's a lot of other things which I would cover in other videos, but yeah, this is just to get you started with the documentation. I hope this helped, and please let me know in the comments if you want to know anything more about this. Thank you.